Bhutan, the land of the thunder dragon. Perhaps the only country in the region where people live in absolute harmony with the nature. In a sense, it provides for an inspiring setup for a thought on climate change. And for a change, the leaders did oblige. For long, SAARC has been dubbed as a talking shop with very little work on the ground. But the 16th SAARC summit in Thimphu would definitely occupy an important space in history for bringing to the fore the issue of climate change before the leaders who decide on our behalf. Experts tout it as one of the most significant achievements of the bloc in recent times. The 16th summit ended with the adoption of the Thimphu Statement on Climate Change, in which South Asian leaders vowed to make South Asia a world leader in the use of low-carbon technology and renewable energy. At the Thimphu summit, leaders from 8 South Asian nations emphasized the importance of reducing dependence on high-carbon technology for economic growth. They also expressed their deep concern over the adverse effects of climate change in the region. The statement called for commissioning of a SAARC intergovernmental climate-related disasters initiative on the integration of climate change adaptation with disaster risk reduction. The statement on climate change agreed to review the implementation of the previous Dhaka Declaration and SAARC Action Plan on Climate Change with a view to ensuring its timely implementation. Leaders, in fact, agreed that an intergovernmental expert group on climate change must be established to develop a clear policy for regional cooperation as envisaged in the SAARC Plan of Action on Climate Change. Also, the SAARC Secretary General will now commission a study aimed at accreditation of SAARC with the Kyoto Protocol's Adaptation Fund as a regional entity for undertaking adaptation projects in South Asia. The statement urged member nations to complete the ratification process for the SAARC Convention on Cooperation on Environment at the earliest. Incidentally, India, the largest of the bloc, announced the setting up of a fund that would help South Asia meet urgent adaptation and capacity building needs posed by climate change more effectively. In fact, the Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also proposed the establishment of innovation centers in the region to develop sustainable energy technologies, a step that could have a far-reaching impact. South Asia, a region which is home for 1/5 of the total world population, is especially prone to the ill effects of climate change and related disasters, therefore making it imperative for a regional response to meet challenges that are more urgent and compelling. Thus, leaders endorse that. One of the more practical yet visible gesture was, of course, the simple pledge of planting 10 million trees over the next 5 years as part of a regional forestation and reforestation campaign in the member states. An idea that can make the ordinary South Asian a part of the possible solution to the challenge, as it easily drives home the need for conservation of biodiversity and natural resources in the region. SAARC leaders also agreed on commissioning a SAARC intergovernmental monsoon initiative on the evolving pattern of monsoon to assess the vulnerability of member states due to climate change. This will be implemented with the support of SAARC Meteorological Research Center. Keeping aside regional and bilateral differences and having finalized a regional convention on environment South Asian leaders began working towards formulating a joint position on climate change that could be voiced effectively at the Cancun climate talks that concluded recently. Of course, the desire to have a common position at the climate summit in Mexico did come up in the speeches of the leaders at Thimphu. Significantly, SAARC got the status of an observer at the 16th United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Cancun. India's Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh indeed spearheaded the cooperative efforts between countries in the region. Increasing unpredictability of monsoon and erratic rainfall patterns have made the region even more flood-prone, with millions being affected every year. Reasons grave enough for pulling up our socks.
Climate change is of fundamental importance because we are a country and a society that is profoundly impacted by the vagaries of the climate and global warming.
The common criticism against the bloc has been that it appears in the news only during its summit, when leaders of the quarrelsome nuclear rivals India and Pakistan face each other on the same stage. Many say that the summit has become more of a photo opportunity. But the issue of climate change has emerged as a fresh galvanizing force for SAARC, perhaps suggesting a positive turn in its history. A paradigm shift indeed in what it used to be and what it aims to be in the future.